Okay, hi, my name is Mohammed Islam, and this is my final JavaScript project. So, my project is called GitHub User Search. So, the agenda I'm going to be talking about the project objective, the Figma design, the front end technologies used, the features of the JavaScript project, and the project demo. I'll also explain the code. So, the objective I had two main objectives. First one was to use an API to retrieve data from GitHub. So, for example, put in a name, my username, my GitHub username, then it would search the following data, which is the picture, the user picture, the name, the username, location, followers, following, and the public repositories. So, those are the two main objectives that I was seeking. So my Figma, my website was pretty simple, um, with the design in a design sense. So on the right hand side, top right, I had a form, meaning I had a div where I had a user search. That's where the user would search input the username. Under that is the div. So once the user searches the username and clicks submit, the div is going to appear, and um, that is where the user data is going to pop up, which is the name, the bio, location, number of repositories, and etc. And then on the left hand side is the image. That's where once the user again, if once they click search, the image that is associated with their profile picture is going to pop up on the left. So the front end technologies that I used were HTML, CSS framework, which is Bootstrap, and JavaScript for the backend. So some features of JavaScript in my project were DOM manipulation, event handling, fetching APIs and how to manipulate it, error handling, and JSON parsing. So this is my project, well, my website, and on the left hand side you could see how it initially looks without searching for a username, and then on the right hand side, as I showed in the Figma, once you type in the username, you click on search. On the left hand side of the search button, you will see a picture popping up, and on underneath the button, you would see the name, the username, bio, and etc. So now I'll show you my code and then I'll show you the website. Okay, so this is my code, my JavaScript code. And so at the top, I'm basically adding a event listener to my form, the element form in my HTML. And when I click submit, the following happens. So I'm going to, in the search bar, I'm basically taking the user input and removing any space and making it, not making it, assigning it to without underscore space, the variable. And then I am fetching. So once the user inputs the name, which is assigned into the variable without space, I'm going to be adding it to this API, which the API is, it takes in the user, which is concatenated with without space. Once that is sent through, um, you would get a response from fetching the API, and that response, so if the response is not okay, meaning it doesn't have a value, for example, let's just say I put an insane username with no valid data in it, it would throw an error. So first I would create a error. So I already created an error div in my HTML file, and that's basically turning the content of the div to user not found, please try again. So that would only happen if I have a username that does not exist. While that happens, I am going to be throwing a new error, which is basically on the console.log. So once you console.log and you basically go to this step, it would show on the console.log, it would show user not found. And if this is false, so if the response is okay, I'm going to be returning the following response. So once I retrieve the API, the data is going to be parsed into a JSON format, and then it's going to be returned to us. Then that data that we get returned has multiple things in it. For example, one of the things that's in it would be the name. So the name, and then you would have the location of the person or the bio of the person. So that's all included. That's all stored inside that data that was sent back to us. So over here, in this block, this is where I create a image, and once I basically wrap the image in an A tag, which is once you click on it, it will take you directly to that person's GitHub profile. Then on the bottom, this block basically shows once that data is received, what do I want to do with the data. So I created an element, not created, I'm taking the element bio, which is a div in my HTML, and I am inserting the following things. I'm taking the data.name, the data.login, the data.bio, and etc. And I am showing it in that div. So whenever the user searches a username and then clicks search, it will show the following data over here. It will show it in a div. And on the bottom, this block is basically, if you go back to the top, this error that we're throwing to the is being catched. And then as I said before, you're console.logging it. So whenever you go to console.log and the error is thrown, it's gonna show up as user not found, this right here, and we're console logging it down here. And once the error is thrown, the following divs, which is the pic and the bio divs, are just going to be empty. It's not going to show up. And yeah, that is my JavaScript file. It's the basic backend logic, and my front end is, let me just go back. And this is my HTML file. Basically shows the skeleton of it. And then I have the CSS file. And now I'm going to be showing you my website. And let me just move this. Alright, so this is my website. As you can see, if I put in my own GitHub search, so I have the image. Well, I don't have an image in my GitHub, but if I did, this is where the image would show up, and then this is my data. So my name, username, my bio, and then how many repositories I have. And then if I wanted to see my profile picture, my profile, this is how my profile looks. Now let's just say I put in an error, so some crazy name. When I search it, it will show up as user not found, please try again. And if I go to the console, right here, the error is thrown, right? And it will show, and when it's catched, we're console logging that error, and the what we put in the error when it's being thrown is user not found. So we caught it and then showed it, console logged it. And yeah, so this is my GitHub project.